hippopotamus will do. No crocodiles, no rhinoceroses. I only like hippopotamuses, and hippopotamuses like me too. Would eat me up, but then teacher says a hippo is a vegetarian. There's lots of room for him in our two-car garage. I'd feed him there and wash him there and give him his massage. I can see me now on Christmas morning creeping down the stairs. Oh, what joy and what surprise when I open up my eyes to see a hippo hero standing there. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only a hippopotamus will do. No crocodiles or rhinoceroses. I only like hippopotamuses, and hippopotamuses like me too.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening, a beautiful sight. We're happy tonight, we're walking in a winter wonderland. And gone away is the bluebird, but here to stay, stay, stay is a new bird. He sings our love song as we go along. We're walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say no, man, but you can do the job.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go.
Take a look in the 5 and 10,
glistening once again,
with candy canes and silver lanes aglow.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, toys in every store.
But the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. A pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that chooses the wish of Barney and Ben.
dolls that'll talk and we'll go for a walk is the hope for Janice and Jen.
And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go.
Now there's a tree in the Grand Hotel,
One in the park as well,
The sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will start,
and the thing that will make them ring
Is the carol that you sing right within your heart.
a pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that
is
shoots,
the wish of Barney and Ben,
dolls that'll talk and we'll go for a walk.
is the hope for Janice and Jen.
And the Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will start, and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart.
will be ringing. Sad news. To have the blues. My baby's gone. I have no friend to wish me greeting once again. Choirs will be singing Silent Night, Christmas carol by candlelight. Please come home for Christmas. Please come home for Christmas. If not for Christmas, by New Year's night. Friends and relations send salutations. Sure as the stars shine above. But this is Christmas. It's Christmas, my dear. Some time of year to be with the one you love. So won't you tell me you'll never more old? Christmas and New Year will find you home. There'll be no more sorrow, no grief and pain. And I'll be happy, happy once again. Well, there'll be no more sorrow, no grief and pain, and I'll be happy Christmas once again.
Well, that sounded just like it does when I sing at home along with the radio. Just like that, just like that. I hope that you are having a great kickoff to your Christmas season, and welcome to Lake Oconee Church. If we haven't met, my name is Andy. It's been kind of one of those weird times of year. It's like the 1 week of the year that it's like cloudy and rainy and foggy and overcast, and I hope that you've been able to kind of counteract that maybe with the Christmas lights. I know at my house that's what I did yesterday. Put out some Christmas lights on Friday evening, was able to be a part of the Greensboro tree lighting, and so it just brings a little bit of holiday joy in the middle of everything that's going on. Some of you got your holiday joy yesterday watching a football game. So I hope that you've had little doses of that everywhere. And for those of you who are our guests this morning, we want to bring a little bit of that holiday joy to you as well, because our guest service team has prepared a gift for you. And I've seen the gift they've prepared. I think it's something you're going to want to take with you when you go. So whether you are new to town or new to church or just new to our church, however you got here this morning, I'm so glad that you're here. And as you leave, we all walk out here in about an hour and we're walking down the hallway. Look to your left. You'll see the studio, and you can swing through there, grab that gift quickly as you're heading out the door. It's just a small way that we can say thank you for carving out a little over an hour of your time this holiday weekend. And for those of you who are our guests online, you can go to guest.lakeoconee.church. We'll email a little treat your way. The gift won't quite fit in your email box, but a little treat will. So we'll send that your direction. And we can't wait till we get to host you right here in the room. Now, as we go through the rest of our service together, we're going to sing a couple more songs led by Mel and Amy together with our band. And as we do that, for those of us who are Jesus followers, this gives us an opportunity to praise our Heavenly Father. So take advantage of that, sing along, whether that's singing or clapping towards the end or raising a hand or two as we sing together. All of those are ways that we can express our affirmation of the truths of those songs. And then we'll jump into this morning's talk as we kick off a brand new series. And we'll wrap it all back up with one gift for you, one more gift for you before we go. So right now, if you would, stand to your feet, say hey to someone near you, tell them whether your house is ready for Christmas, and we'll keep this morning going.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful, O ye nations, rise, join the triumph of the sky. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Christ by his heaven adorned, Christ the everlasting Lord. Late in time, behold him come, O spring of a virgin's womb. Veiled in flesh, the Godhead see, hail the incarnate deity, pleased with us in flesh to dwell. Jesus our Emmanuel. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Hail the heavenly Prince of Peace, hail the Son of righteousness, light and life to all he brings, risen with healing in his wings. Mount he lays his glory by, born that men no more may die, born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Hail the heavenly Prince of Peace, hail the Son of righteousness, light and light to all he brings, risen with healing in his wings. Mount he lays his glory by, born man never no more may die, born to raise the sons of earth. He was born to give them second birth. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. To the King.
We sing 1,000 generations falling down in worship to sing the song of ages to the Lamb. And all who've gone before us and all who will believe will sing the song of ages to the Lamb. Come on, sing. Your name is the highest, your name is the greatest, your name stands above them all. All thrones and dominions, all powers and positions, your name stands above them all. And the angels cry, holy, all creation cries, holy, you are lifted high, holy, holy forever. Come on. If you've been forgiven, if you've been redeemed, sing the song forever to the Lamb. Oh, and if you walk in freedom, if you bear his name, sing the song forever to the Lamb. Oh, we'll sing the song forever and amen. Oh, the angels cry, holy, all creation cries, holy, you are lifted high, holy, holy forever. Hear your people sing, holy, to the King of Kings. Holy, you will always be. Holy, holy forever. Because your name is the highest, your name is the greatest, your name stands above them all. All thrones and dominions, all powers and positions, your name stands above them all. Jesus, your name is the highest, your name is the greatest, your name, yes, stands above them all. Oh, we sing above all thrones and dominions, all powers and positions, your name stands above them all. And the
trophy child, hear the band when we run. Mercy's not a fate, presence isn't rushed. Oh no, our God is. Cross was not a vehicle for you. We look upon your care, grace was always there. Acceptance not withheld from us, no need to measure up. Oh no, our God is. His arms are open for all to gather. Here the cross has spoken. There's nothing left to fear. Once and for all he's shown how far his grace will go for us. Our God is love. Past the Father's heart for us will never reach the end. I thought for sure I found, but he proved me wrong again. So much high, so much wide, so much deeper than we know. Oh, our God is love. His arms are open for all to gather. Here the cross has spoken. There's nothing left to fear. Once and for all he's shown how far his grace will go for us. Our God is love.
Whatever picture I have isn't big enough. Whatever picture I have isn't good enough. Whatever picture I have doesn't sum you up. It couldn't sum you up. Come on. Whatever picture I have isn't big enough. Whatever picture I have isn't good enough. Whatever picture I have doesn't sum you up. It couldn't sum you up. You're so much greater.
Overcoming every grave, overwhelming all our shame. It's overflowing, it's overflowing. Our God is love. Overcoming every grave, overwhelming all our shame. It's overflowing, it's overflowing. Our God is love. His arms are open for all to gather. Here the cross has spoken. There's nothing left to fear. Once and for all he's shown how far his grace will go for us. Our God is love. Yeah. And overcoming every grave, overwhelming all our shame. It's overflowing, it's overflowing. Our God is love. Overcoming every grave, and overwhelming all our shame. It's overflowing, it's overflowing. Our God is love. It's overflowing, it's overflowing. Our God is love. Yeah. It's overflowing, overflowing. Our God is love. Hey, thanks so much. Thanks so much for singing with us. We'll invite you to grab your seats, all right?
Amy and Mel, thanks for leading us. And it's so cool as we sing together, we get to sing that our God is love. And for those of us who are Jesus followers, that would be how we describe ourselves. We get the opportunity to mirror that love everywhere we go. And that's why, as a church, we say that we're loving the Lake Country, demonstrating the love of our Heavenly Father from Greensboro to Eatonton, up to Madison, down to Milledgeville, and way beyond. And that's what motivated us over the last couple of months to come together and to give away more than $85,000, helping nonprofits all across Georgia's Lake Country. And it's what motivated us to last weekend not have a Sunday gathering like this, but instead throw a huge Christmas party for our community, an event that we called Lighten the Lake Country. And during that event, we got to connect with so many people. And even though it was raining outside, we were able to pivot and hold that event all throughout this campus. And in case you missed it, take a look at this. Hey, thank you so very much for so many of you. So many of you leaned in to help us decorate for that, and then others and some of the same came back to help us prepare for that, to host that, to clean up from that. Thank you for the huge way that you invested in not only the lives represented in this room, but lives all across our community. So thank you for your part in that. And we're not done, because as the month continues, there's more opportunities through which we're loving the Lake Country. And one of those opportunities is coming up this coming Saturday for elementary parents and their children. And it's a special event we call Kid Stuff Christmas. And this is a show our elementary families experience together that makes their family better. And so we're inviting all of our elementary parents together with their kids, their friends' kids, your coworkers' kids, to come and be a part of Kid Stuff Christmas. It's next Saturday in the alcove here on campus at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's a special standalone event. You won't want to miss that if you have elementary kids, because there'll be a lot of Christmas, a lot of games. But in the middle of that, we will equip you to focus on the true meaning of Christmas at your home all month long. So you won't want to miss that opportunity. Kid Stuff Christmas, it's next Saturday at 10 o'clock. And all of these things, all together with even our Christmas Eve service that's coming up at 3 o'clock and 4:30 on the 24th, all of these things, they come together and they intersect as a way that we can be demonstrating God's love throughout our area. And if you have not already picked up your Love in the Lake Country magnet, we've got new magnets, new look and feel to these. So make sure you swing by the studio. You can grab these for free. And if you say, hey, I don't put magnets on my car, or like a lot of us, there's nothing on my car that's magnetic anymore, then you can grab one of these clear stickers. And it says the same thing, looks very similar, but you can put it on the glass. That's probably what I will do. But take advantage of that. It's waiting there for you. But those conversations that come from, hey, what's Love in the Lake Country? They turn into invitations to events like our Christmas Eve service and so many others. So take advantage of that. It's waiting for you in the studio. And let me just pause to say thank you to all of you who you've generated a plan to live generously you give towards our mission as a church of inspiring people to follow Jesus. And you help make all of these different kinds of events possible in addition to everything that we do on a Sunday, because you're investing in families well beyond your own. And I'm so grateful for your way of doing that, especially here at the end of the year. And if you're looking for how you could lean in and be a part of that, there are buckets beside the exit doors. You can download our Lake Oconee Church app, or you can do like I do. I go online to give.lakeoconee.church, and I give that way. But however you do that, thank you for your part in our mission. Well, in just a minute, we're going to jump into this morning's message, but I want to tell you about something that's coming after the message this morning. If you're newer to our church and you've got some questions about that mission that I just described, you've heard me talk about all sorts of different events that we're offering. But if I were you, I'd be going, okay, I'm sitting in a row on Sunday. I've heard about a lot of events. How does all of this fit together? What more is there for my family beyond just a row on Sunday? And we answer all of those questions in a very short event called Next. And good news, Next is happening today, immediately following this morning's service. It lasts about 20 minutes. It's so easy because it's literally in the next room right around the corner from that door. And I get to host that, so I'd love the chance to meet you there. And if you have children, we'll keep watching your children so you don't have to worry about them. But during that event, we'll answer some of your questions. We'll talk about some on-ramps to you getting more connected that you can consider. There's no pressure, so it's not like you have to do something, but it is informative. So if you're newer to our church, or maybe you've been here a long time and you've not taken a step beyond Sunday morning, I would love for you to spend just a couple of minutes there, because I'd love to help you figure out how you could get more connected if that's something you're interested in doing. So just kind of block those 20 minutes off right after our morning service here in just a little bit. We'll meet in that next room. Well, in just a second, we're going to connect with this morning's message. And for those of you who are newer, we have a variety of speakers here. Sometimes they're live on our stage, sometimes they're live from a nearby campus, and we do that so that we can put the most engaging presenters in front of you and the guests that you're inviting, because none of us want to waste our time. None of us want to be bored at church. And so we put the most engaging presenters in front of you. And this morning, we're going to kick off a brand new series, and we're going to lean into a series that's kicking off just a few miles up the road in Alpharetta, as Andy Stanley guides a conversation about how to anticipate Christmas in a season that is crazy and chaotic for all of us. And I think that you'll find it beneficial. But before we jump in there, I'd love the chance to pray with you and for you as one of your pastors who's living alongside you here. So let's do that. Dear God, thank you for this season. God, it's crazy, it's busy, but there's such hope represented in the story of Jesus coming as we celebrate him as the baby of Bethlehem, but we recognize that he is so much more than that. And God, as we lean in this morning to acknowledge just how complicated this season can be, from grief that we're navigating to complications with just family dynamics, to simply trying to get it all in on our schedules. God, I pray that this morning would bring us hope. And in the middle of that we would see the true meaning and your heart for us in all of that. I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
I hope you're ready, folks, because Christmas is right around the corner.
Christmas? Santa and his reindeer. Christmas.
Because Christmas is right around the corner.
Christmas?
Christmas is coming.
Is it New Year's yet?
You said this was supposed to be easy.
You want me to call my dad? Did you close the garage door?
Yes, I closed the garage door.
Hey, hey, Christmas is coming. Hey, it's getting near. Hey, Christmas is coming. It's peace and love, so have no fear.
Look at the snowman.
Snowman is moving faster than we are.
We forgot the elf. The ugly one. The one for your mother.
Hey, Christmas is coming, so have no fear.
We should do this every night. Forever!
Christmas is here. Christmas. Ooh, that's ugly.
I feel like we touched all the nerves. Hey, I want to welcome all of our churches from all around the country, state of Georgia, those of you here in the Atlanta area, and I hope that your Christmas season is getting off to a better start than perhaps some of the things you've already seen or heard this morning. And here's the thing, regardless of where you live, regardless of our background, we're all at some level anticipating Christmas. We're all planning and preparing. Sandra was already putting together a toy yesterday because she is like way ahead of everybody else. And why wait till Christmas Eve? And while we, as a group of local churches, we can't help you plan and prepare your meals and plan and prepare your gifts, our guest today is going to help all of us prepare our hearts and our minds for this fabulous season that most of us have been looking forward to, really almost all year long. Steve Cuss is a former hospital chaplain. He's going to tell you a little bit more about that. He's been a pastor of a local church. He's the founder of Capable Life. It's an organization he created to help people lower internal and relational anxiety. We're going to talk about that, both in the workplace and at home. He and his wife, Lisa, reside in Erie, Colorado. He wrote a book that kind of made its way through our staff, Managing Leadership Anxiety. And so many of our staff read this book and found it to be helpful that we brought Steve in. We brought him in on a couple occasions to meet with different groups of our staff. And he recently spoke to our staff here. I'm at North Point Community Church here today. And as he spoke, I thought, I wish everybody in our church could hear this message. It's so applicable. And then I read his second book entitled The Expectation Gap. And after that, I thought, for sure, we've got to get him here. So would you please welcome Steve Cuss. So, as you're about to discover, Steve is not from here.
Yeah, that's right.
And so last night we were having dinner, and in the restaurant we were at, I was sort of trying not to keep watching SEC Championship. And then Steve started talking about cricket. I'm like, cricket?
Yeah, best game in the world.
I'm like, no, it goes doesn't it go for days?
5 days, 8 hours a day for 5 days.
And they stop for...
They take dinner breaks.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, Americans.
Yeah.
I know, we're all shaking our head. I'm sure it's great.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
It's the best game in the world, yeah.
So Steve, his background is amazing. He started at 24 as a hospital chaplain. I'm going to let him talk about that in just a minute. But I asked him if it's okay, instead of burying the lead, this is what was such a great takeaway for our staff, and I think this is going to be so helpful for all of us today. So without burying the lead, I'm just going to put your big idea up here on the screen and then let you talk about it. Yeah. Basically, here's the bottom line. If you have to leave early, I hope you don't leave early. Reactivity is contagious. He's going to talk about that. We catch it and we spread it, thus the dysfunctional family Christmas sometimes. And it is always based on a false need that feels real in the moment. And Steve, you discovered this early on in your 20s as you entered the world of being a hospital chaplain, and as a pastor like you who's walked into all kinds of situations. At 24, I can't imagine. So tell us the story.
Yeah, I was a chaplain resident. I grew up in Perth, Western Australia, but I did my theological study, went to Bible college in Knoxville, Tennessee. where there's more Baptists than people, as it turns out. It's really quite something. And so I did a chaplain residency at the University of Tennessee Medical Center in Knoxville. It's a level 1 trauma center with a helicopter, transplants, and that whole deal. So if you watch your hospital dramas, you know that medical students do a medical residency. What they never show on TV is ministry students can do a chaplain residency. Even right here in Atlanta area, any teaching hospital will have chaplain residents. So that's what I was doing. And we do 28-hour overnight shifts, just like the medical students do.
So you spend the night in the hospital?
Yeah, my first day on the job was 28 hours. And they put 4 beepers on my belt back in the days of beepers for the emergency room and intensive care. And yeah, I'd been married 6 or 7 days. So my wife and I were brand newlyweds, and she dropped me off in the morning, 8 a.m., and then she picked me up noon the next day. And it was just a baptism of fire. I attended around 200 deaths the year I was a chaplain. And then the challenge with chaplaincy is when you're not attending death, like no one is sitting around a hospital room saying, I'm bored, I bet the chaplain would be a good time. Like they only ever call you when they're begging you to beg God for a miracle. So it's really intense. And that's where I learned to locate the anxiety in the room. We were trained in a theory that teaches you to notice anxiety. And what's fascinating about it is if you can notice it, you're less inclined to catch it and spread it.
Wow, say
that
again.
Just making the posture to notice.
Notice the anxiety.
Yeah, so even before Christmas, anyone can pick something this week that drives you crazy. Maybe there's a staff meeting coming up, or you do have a family member that's difficult. If you just decide, okay, I'm going to notice what's going on, you'll be much more resistant to catching and spreading the reactivity.
That was probably worth getting up and coming to church for, right?
It was so helpful for me because I thought, okay, my job is to notice the anxiety in the family, and how hard can that be? I mean, they're all at the end of their rope. But the biggest surprise to me was my anxiety as the chaplain. That really surprised me, is my own fear of death. One of my false needs, you were talking about false need, I need to say just the right thing to make people feel better. This is like a constant thing in my brain. If somebody in front of me is suffering, I feel such pressure to say the right thing. So a lot of chaplaincy was learning to restrain that. And then, we were chatting earlier. One of the veteran chaplains pulled us aside and he said, listen, when you're doing emergency room care, somebody comes in on a gurney, they've had a car accident or some terrible situation. He said, but then a minute or two later, a family shows up. They've gotten a phone call, of course. And this chaplain, George, he said, your job is to figure out what was going on in that family 1 minute before the phone rang. And that dynamic is exposed by the crisis. So when I did some of this work during COVID, I would tell leaders all the time, COVID didn't create anything. It just exposed what was going on under the surface. And that's what Christmas does as well. It just heightens whatever's going on. So if your
I've never
family
made the connection between COVID and Christmas.
That's
Great.
I'm here for that. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about reactivity, because you connect this to anxiety. One of the interesting things that happens the first time that you talked to one of our groups of leaders was you asked the leaders in the room, you said, if you struggle with anxiety, if you struggle with anxiety, just raise your hand. And a few people raised their hand.
Yeah, leaders aren't prone to admit it.
Yeah. Well, I think probably most of us, or maybe, okay, I'm a leader, so yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, but then as you contextualize the idea of anxiety, at the end of the talk, you said, now, how many of you feel like you wrestle or struggle with anxiety? And every hand went up. So talk a little bit about reactivity. This was so helpful.
Yeah. So anxiety is one word that covers a lot of different situations. But reactivity is one particular type of anxiety. And what is fascinating is actually the only kind of anxiety that's contagious.
The reactivity.
Yeah. So if somebody struggles, for example, with generalized anxiety disorder or bipolarity, those are all types of anxiety. If someone battles grief or trauma, those are all types of anxiety, but they're not contagious. But reactivity is contagious. And so the fastest way to find it is on social media, honestly. That's the easiest way to locate reactive anxiety. You look in Facebook, Twitter, and you just see the comment section devolve so quickly. People really do believe that what the world needs is one more comment from them. right? It's weird. It's really weird. And that's because they had this false need to be right or to put someone in their place or to be understood, and so they comment away. So what's fascinating about reactivity, yeah, it's contagious, and the reason it's contagious is because it disconnects us. So it disconnects us from ourselves. We are generally not aware of ourselves when we're in a reactive state. It disconnects us from the other. So if you're married, for example, and you get into a difficult fight, you stop seeing your spouse as a lover, for example. They're now an enemy. They're functionally an enemy to be defeated. That's because you're disconnected. And then, I know we'll get into this, but it disconnects you from awareness of God. So you start operating under your own steam. You forget the Lord. Yeah, so that's some of the nature of reactivity. It's based always on a false need that your body tells you in the moment is actually a real threat. And I know we can get into that as well.
Well, you can go ahead and talk about it. I mean, we're there. I mean, in terms of, you can just riff on that, yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in Western Australia. My parents lived in a remote part of Western Australia. It's already a remote state. And so they have a guest room that not many people visit. And I was going home for Christmas, and then my wife, who's American, and who, let's just say Lisa, and she's sitting down here, Lisa does not have a friendly relationship with Australian reptiles. Really with any reptiles, if I got to be honest, but particularly Aussie ones. And I don't blame her. Australian reptiles get pretty serious. Yeah. So I was home to take care of my parents. My mum was getting old and she was battling some things, and I went home early to take care of mum before my American wife and kids came to visit. I go into the guest room, and in the corner there's a vacuum cleaner, and I see this much of a tail, a reptile tail, wrapped around the vacuum cleaner, and the rest of the reptile is hidden behind the vacuum cleaner. Okay, so it's either a tiger snake, which is one of the top 10 deadliest snakes in the world and is very aggressive. When I was a teenager, my sister would make me walk to school ahead of her to flush the snakes out. And one time we saw a tiger snake, and I just started running as fast as I could, and I squealed like a girl, actually. But so I've only seen a couple of tiger snakes. It was either a tiger snake or it was a king skink, which is a big lizard, and half of the lizard is tail, and if you can only see the back, you can't tell. Okay, so I got to figure out. So my heart is racing. Everyone's been in a situation. This is called acute anxiety. Acute anxiety is when you or a loved one might actually be in physical danger. So driving in Atlanta, acute anxiety. If you've ever, in all seriousness, if you've ever lost a child in a public place, that's acute anxiety. So Mary and Joseph, when they left Jesus behind at the temple and they realized we've lost Jesus, they are in acute anxiety. Safety is the primary thing. So you've experienced it. Your heart races, you get a body full of adrenaline, you can feel that. Your mind gets really sharp. So I went and got my dad. He was 81. And the big idea with a reptile, get someone older and slower, someone decrepit, get him in the room. And look, my dad had lived a good life, all right? So, I mean, I'm just playing. It was a two-man operation.
Now we're all having acute anxiety.
Yeah. It was a two-man operation. So we got these big brooms, and we nudged the vacuum cleaner, and out runs a big lizard. Everything's fine. And the whole thing took 2 minutes. And then we calm down and we talk about it. You've probably had this too. If you've ever had to swerve from a car accident or you find that child, everyone starts talking. That's your body like diffusing the adrenaline. Okay. The problem with reactivity is your body does the same thing in a microdose with your false needs. So for example, when I was a chaplain and I'm in the room with someone suffering and my brain is telling me, you must say something to make them feel better. Well, that's a false need. But my body doesn't give me a big dose of adrenaline. I can't even notice it. It just gives me a few little drips. And it doesn't go away in 2 minutes. It's constant. Because humans always have false needs not being met. Like the need to have the last word. The need to do it right. For me, one of my false needs is people-pleasing. I will get anxious if I perceive that you're unhappy with me, and my body has a little response. So a lot of the work I do is with leaders in burnout, because burnout has more to do with unaddressed false needs than it does with workload. because leaders don't manage the adrenal response when you're not getting your false needs met.
Wow.
Yeah.
So reactivity is it's a constant.
It's a constant presence in our life.
And then I read, I think it was in one of, I can't remember which book, he talked about our bodies have like a memory. They memorize the trauma based on patterns, or
so many
or it
people
can be associated with specific people, or.
Oh yeah. So many people are familiar. There's a famous book, The Body Keeps the Score. A lot of people have read that now. That's about a trauma response living in your body, but it's also true with reactivity. Like as a pastor, I was a pastor full-time for 30 years. I was always in a mildly reactive state because there was always somebody that wasn't happy with me.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I know you're surprised to hear this.
Yeah.
And Andy, the weird things I would do to try to gain their happiness so I could relax. That's what would tend to get me into trouble.
So one of the things I read, again, I didn't footnote which books these came out of, but I love this statement, if you kind of talk about this. Between stimulus and response, there is a space.
Yeah.
And this was so helpful to me. And in that space is the power to choose.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I don't feel like I have a choice.
Yeah.
I feel like there's an action, and to every action, there's an equal opposite reaction.
Yes.
And so this is reactivity.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's not really a choice. I'm just, you did, so I do, so you said, so I say.
Yeah.
Talk about that space a little bit.
Yeah, this is the great hope is reactivity is like an automated response. You can't really stop yourself from getting reactive. If after this talk, if somebody came down to me, if you wanted to do a sick social experiment, come and see me after this and just say, Steve, that was really boring. And you will watch me get reactive. Like, I can't help that, but I can learn to notice it and manage it, and that's the power of it. We've got a guy that works with us named Jimmy Carnes. He's actually a Georgia native. And Jimmy says that managing reactivity is like going through the haunted house the second time. Because the first time, you don't know where the guy with the chainsaw is. But if you were to go through and go right back in line, get a ticket, and come through again, you know where the guy with the chainsaw is. And so you're not surprised. So what you can be doing is think about the person that takes up too much real estate in your brain. I don't know who that is. Think about in the next couple of weeks an event in your life that you will either go into reactive or come out of it reactive. Well, you already know that. It's predictable. And that's the power of managing reactivity, is over time it's predictable. And if it's predictable, then it's manageable. So now I can walk into situations knowing about myself, oh, this is a situation that's going to make me reactive. Like when I was a chaplain, I learned about myself. I have this false need to make people feel better. Therefore, I can manage it before I walk into the room by noticing it, doing some of this work. And now I don't catch it as much. I mean, I'm still managing it, but I'm not caught up in it. It's not on the autopilot like it was.
Yeah, I was looking at my notes. There was another quote about that the trauma isn't the event, or I'm not saying it exactly right, that to the point you just made, it's not the person, it's the association we make with the person or the event beforehand.
Yeah, the meaning made.
Talk about that.
Yeah. So I'm actually not trained in trauma. I happen to be married to a trauma therapist. Really comes in handy, I'll say that to start with. It's a wonderful gift in my life. But yes, trauma experts would tell us that things happen to us, and then it's the meaning we make out of that event that stays in our body, and it also stays in our future. And so whether you're talking trauma or just garden variety reactivity, if I'm a people pleaser, my body is heightened to your approval. Whereas if somebody else may not be a people pleaser, they may be a perfectionist, for example, their body is heightened to mistakes. And so you can learn over time, and I know we'll get into some of those core things, you can learn what is my body heightened to, and you can just notice your body. You can notice when your body is acting like you're in danger, when you're in no danger at all. It's so unreliable. And then you can kind of train yourself to manage it, and it's really powerful.
So I do want to dive into the details that you've alluded to so far. So I'll just set this up. This was from the Expectation Gap book. You said, detangling true needs from false needs.
Yeah.
can be difficult but fruitful work for sure. And it begins by locating ourselves, what you call in the big five.
Yeah.
So there's true needs and false needs, and these are associated with the big five. So I want you to walk us through these big five. And I think you've said there are more than just these five.
Yeah.
But this was convicting and helpful. In fact, the afternoon I heard you talk about it for the first time, by the time I got home that night, I had applied what I heard you say that morning to our staff 2 specific, significant times. I just didn't have language for what, we all know when we're experiencing reactivity, that's not a mystery.
Yeah.
But of course, the tendency is to blame the person, blame the circumstances. I've always been this way. My dad was this way. My mom was this way. How else could you react? Yeah. But having the language for me and created the opportunity to decide what to put in that gap. Yeah. And to your point, there are environments we're about to face one for many of us, Christmas. Yeah. The family, the mix of family, you could deal with this one or that one, but they're both going to be, or the preparation, the pressure of preparation for the
pressure
perfectionist.
to get the right gift.
Oh.
The family member that takes up all the emotional field, like they walk in and everyone feels it.
Yep.
And for some reason they get their way and no one knows why.
Well, and before we get to this, can we talk about that for just a minute?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cousin Greg.
I forget again, correct my language, but you have this phrase that there, in any organization or family system, there's someone who creates the anxiety, and then there are the people that carry. Yeah. Is that the right language?
That's right, yeah. In most groups, the minority generate the anxiety or the reactivity, and the majority of the people carry it. And,
when you say carry it, they have to compensate.
They compensate in some way. There's unspoken agreements. Why is it that cousin Sally gets the last word? Like, we've never agreed on that. We've never sat down and talked, but everyone understands it. So if you've ever had, I think we've all had this situation. Everyone's having a great time, and then this person walks in, and they're kind of like an Eeyore. If they're having a bad day, you are not allowed to have a good day. And the whole temperature cools, and everyone knows it, and everyone has secretly agreed. We call that the micro adjustments. So the person with the biggest emotional field usually shows up. And so if you picture people with like big hula hoops around them, and people who are emotionally well have a smaller hula hoop. So they can walk into a room and you're not really pushed around by it. But people with a big emotional field, now sometimes it's like a chronically needy person, where they're just always in crisis and need. Sometimes it's like the Eeyore. Sometimes it's the most aggressive person in the room. They have a big political rant. They're the hardest ones to work with because when people are ranting, they don't realize they're anxious. They think they're strong. Like they're telling it like it is, this guy. And you're like, you're not telling it like it is. Like you're really skewed in your view. But everyone's deciding, are we going to fight him? Are we going to push back? And so one micro adjustment you can look for if you're noticing is just everyone looks down. The person rants and everyone looks down. And then if you're the host, everyone looks up and looks at you. And you're like, I don't want to deal with it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're the anxiety creators and the anxiety carriers. Yeah. And in the workplace, that's it's evident. And in the more power or position a person has in an organization, they have more permission to be the anxiety creator. The first time I heard you talk about this, I went home and I told Sandra, I said, do you think I'm the anxiety creator at work? She's like, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. And then in family, isn't it almost impossible not to feel like you have to compensate? Otherwise, it's just conflict. Or you have any suggestions before we look at these?
Yeah, it's a really important observation, Andy, because most of my work is organizational leadership. And it's much simpler in the workplace. And also,
because you can quit.
You can quit, and they didn't give birth to you.
And they didn't
give birth to you. Yes. So the general rule, and this is not a shot at mothers. This is just a cute way of talking about family. When umbilical cords are involved, 100 times more complicated. Because I was just home 2 weeks ago to visit my dad. And we have a complicated relationship, and it's exponentially more complicated because I was a little boy at one point. And so we have 50 years of script that we try to work through. So family, you have to be so kind to yourself when you're dealing with family dynamics. They're the toughest dynamics.
What do you
to deal
mean
with.
kind to yourself?
Well, I think we all expect, like for some people in the room, they will hear us talk for 30 to 40 minutes, and their brain will say to them, well, now you should know better. But actually what's true is you've been dealing with these dynamics, for many of you, for decades. So you just have to be so kind to yourself to try something and make it go really badly. We encourage people to take the high jump bar and just put it on the ground and just step over it, make a really low win, because family work is the hardest work. I guess I'll also just say, if you have a very difficult person coming for Christmas, it's perfectly acceptable to let them get away with their terrible behavior. Like, it's not a chickening out. You might make the absolute decision, you know what, they're gonna rant, we're gonna deal with it, or you might decide to differentiate. Toward the end, we'll give you a couple of tools you can do. But I'd hate to give you the impression that this is long, slow work, that you should suddenly fix a long family dynamic.
Yeah,
It's not
that'll
gonna
ruin
happen.
Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, ruin your Christmas.
Or they may not come back the next year.
Well, that might be a
yeah,
win.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I want you to walk through these false needs.
Yeah.
And as Steve walks through these false needs, you'll find yourself no elbowing, okay?
Yeah,
No glancing over. This is you.
This is for you, not
This is
your
for you.
neighbor.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Okay. So the general rule is every human has dozens of false needs, but they can all be grouped in 5 categories. So these are broad categories, not specific needs. So an example as a preacher. A specific need of mine is I believe every sermon I've ever preached must be the best sermon you've ever heard. Now that's crazy. That's a crazy way to live, but that's a specific need I have. You know, I need people afterwards to come up and say, you know, Steve, the Apostle Paul himself could not have constructed. Like, that's a false need. But that you'll see that specific need in these broad needs. So the first one is control. The first need is control. Now, we all have some need for control, but some of you are what we affectionately call control freaks. And you know you're a control freak because someone invites you to the party and you say, I'll meet you there. You don't like to be trapped. You want to drive separately. You show up to the party. I've got a friend who struggles with control. He was so happy when the Apple Watch came out because he got one for him, one for his wife, and he could secretly text his wife where it would only push her wrist. It wouldn't actually show up, and that would say to her, let's get out of here. And he wouldn't even have to make eye contact. He thought that was the best thing. Control freak. Another evidence that you're a control freak is you might be in a meeting, and it's not your meeting, but you are feeling over-responsible for everyone's experience in the meeting. So Jim is droning on, and he's lost the room, and he doesn't know he's lost the room. And it's not your meeting, but you're anxious about it. That would be evidence of control. The next one's perfection. A perfectionist, for a perfectionist, a mistake is the end of the world. Make a mistake, end of the world. So a perfectionist believes the lie that the first time they ever do something, they have to be an expert. The minimum standard for yourself is expert. You don't get to be a rookie like the rest of us. And so for a perfectionist, you check your emails incessantly because a grammatical mistake, end of the world. So as we go through these, what you're looking for is the Armageddon scenario for you. What's the end of the world scenario? The next one is knowing the answer. This is one of mine. I need you to know that I know. Now, when I was unhealthy, I needed to be the smartest guy in the room. It's not good. But even like when my kids were little, even when they were old enough to have a smartphone, like as teenagers, they would come over to me and ask me a question, and I didn't know the answer. And I would Google it in front of them. Like they would just stand. They've got Google in their pocket, but I need them to know I'm a smart person. So for example, when a telemarketer calls me and I think it might be a robot, not a human, I don't hang up. I prove to the robot that I know it's a robot. It's absolutely ridiculous. So
I'm not sure you're healthy yet.
No. I am not like,
you don't do that
I've
anymore.
not graduated. We're all struggling. But like, I'll get a phone call and I'm like, this sounds like an automated voice system. And I'll just try to interrupt the algorithm and say, hey, if you could be any color balloon, what color balloon would you be? Because I know that they didn't program that question.
That's not on their script, yeah, right.
And then the robot goes on, we're trying to sell me solar panels or whatever. And then I'll say to them, I know you're a robot, and I'll hang up. And then my wife will look at me like, congratulations, buddy, Just wasted 2 minutes of your life. But better that than a robot think I'm stupid.
Yeah.
So that's one of mine.
Yeah.
The next one is being there for others. Now, you might say, what could possibly be wrong with being there for others? It's if your body can't tell the difference between their need and your need to be needed.
This is so important. I'm really talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Feel free to jump in on any of this. But
say that again. If your body,
you can't tell between their need and your need to be needed. You're over helpful. You overcommit. You get yourself obligated. You don't discern sacrifice. I'm one of these people too. I will sacrifice sermon preparation time immediately if somebody needs something without first asking the question, are they even asking for my help? Like I rush in and save the day. It's really a difficult one. And then you start to notice, well, who's there for me? And you think that people don't care for you. You don't realize it's your reactivity has set up all of your relationships where you tell everyone I'm fine. You never need others. You're always there for others. That's a big one. And then the final one I've talked about plenty is approval. And that's one of mine as well. Do you want to... You could choose.
Well,
you could either play the game or you could play Sandra. You would put Sandra.
No. What I want you to do now is to You don't want to diagnose yourself?
No,
no.
Yours might rhyme with
because I
perfection.
might lose some of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
So why are these false needs? Because again, this is the beauty of the gap.
Yeah.
It's I'm reacting because I feel like I got to have this.
Yeah.
I fear that I won't get this.
Yeah.
So there's reactivity, and in that gap is my opportunity to recognize this is a false need.
Yeah.
I don't really need to be in control.
Yeah.
I don't really need.
Good.
Is that right?
Good. Okay, so if we look at the big five, what we call the big five false needs, we also notice that these are the 5 attributes of God. God is in control. God is perfect. God knows everything. God is there for everybody. God gives us our approval through the work of Christ. So humans are chasing a God-sized load, which is what makes us reactive because we're carrying more than God has asked us to carry. If we run them really quickly again and we look at a human-sized equivalent, you can feel your soul relax. God is in control. Humans get to trust. And God is sovereign. We don't have to be sovereign. God is perfect. We get to make mistakes. That's the primary way humans grow. We get to improve things, but we will never be perfect. God knows everything. I think we can all agree there is too much news today than our nervous systems can handle. Humans were not designed to know as much as we know today, which is one of the reasons our whole culture is anxious. God is there for everybody. You know what they call somebody who has to be there for everybody? They call it a God complex or a Messiah complex. Yeah. And then God gives us our approval. We don't need it from others. We have a little sketch for us to show us. If you pay attention to the big 5 and you see the big 5 is like a pot at the end of the rainbow, you start thinking about where you are on the big 5 and start to realize, wait a minute, I never get it. Like I never get enough approval to relax. Those of you who are control freaks, you never get enough control for your soul to relax. A perfectionist, you're constantly checking everything for that standard you can't reach. And so learning how to relax into God's presence and be human-sized instead of God-sized. The very first temptation in the Garden of Eden was you can be like God. And I think what we don't realize as followers of Jesus, those of us who are followers of Jesus, we don't realize that we struggle with that just like anybody else does. And we're just constantly chasing something that we were never designed to have.
So in your mind, when you are so one of yours was having the answer.
Having the answer.
So you internally, you feel reactivity.
I feel stupid.
And now you know what it is, and it's a false need.
Yep.
What do you do?
I practice not knowing. So God gives you 6 lies a year it doesn't hold it against you. When you're doing this kind of work, you get 6 a year free. And so I would say to my team, I don't know when I really know. And I could feel the Armageddon in my body when I said, I don't know, when actually I knew the answer.
So you're practicing.
You're practicing the opposite. So if you're a perfectionist, making a mistake on purpose. So if you're a
But
perfectionist...
that feels like a sin to a perfectionist.
Yeah, you get 6 a year. You get 6 a year.
All right,
yeah.
6 a year.
God gives 6 a year.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Once you're at 7, you're in trouble. But a perfectionist, send an email and put grammatical mistakes in it.
On purpose.
On purpose. Just go ahead and send it. And those of you who are perfectionists right now, you can feel your body reacting to, like your body right now is saying, don't trust that guy. He's from a different country. Like, he's crazy. Now, that might be too far for you. We call that brave practice. A simple thing is just noticing. That's safe.
So when you notice it, what do you...
You're noticing yourself, and you're noticing what's going on. So reactivity comes from inside you, your false needs, and it comes at you from others. And so you're just, and this is a long journey, Andy, but you're noticing that Armageddon in you, and you're managing that with God. You're intentionally naming it to God and relaxing into God's presence. Okay, this person's very angry at me. I know I need approval, Lord. One of the prayers we pray is, Jesus died so I don't need to blank anymore. Jesus died so I don't need this person's approval anymore. I am well without this person's approval. And what's crazy is it actually helps me connect to that person. Even if they're mistreating me, I'm no longer feeling defensive. I'm relaxed in God. I make this sound much easier than it is. If you can do this 1 out of 10 times, that's an A, because it's hard work. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So let's move into this final section, because there is kind of an overarching renewal of the mind as it relates to God's presence.
Yeah.
And if you would, we'll just go there.
Yeah, I learned so many of these skills in chaplaincy. I'm so grateful that I got to be a chaplain, because I think it was the crucible of death and suffering and my young age that really was a gift from God. And this didn't happen very often, but once in a while, multiple people would die in a shift. You do a 28-hour shift, there'd be 4 or 5 deaths in the shift. I finally get to bed at 10 p.m. or something at the hospital, and then at 2 a.m., the beeper goes off, and it's like death number 5. And I'm so wrung out. I'm so exhausted. And when you are reactive, you forget the Lord. You just forget God's with you. It all feels on your own shoulders. That's another thing you can notice. You can learn to notice when you've stopped noticing God. It's not easy to do, but you can learn to notice that. So I would notice, okay, I've forgotten God's with me. And so my first move was, God is with me, and that helped. God is with me. But then I realized, wait a minute, God is ahead of me. God's not just with me. As I walk into that room of suffering, God's not just with me, God's ahead of me. In fact, God is already in the room. And that really relaxed me. It really helped me realize I'm not alone, because reactivity makes you feel alone, makes you disconnected. And I could, as I was walking down the hallway, I could relax into God's presence, typically by naming what was going on in me. So that's what you can do as you prepare for Christmas. What are you anxious about? This becomes what you pray about. And for me, it's very conversational with God. Okay, God, 4 people have died. I'll be honest, sometimes somebody would die. I'm not proud of this, but I would be angry at them for selfishly dying while I'm trying to sleep. That's crazy, but it's also very human. Well, that would give me something to tell God. Okay, God, I'm angry. I really can't be angry when I walk into that room. I'm going to exchange my anger for your presence. I'm going to relax into your presence, and I'm going to walk into a space, into a room where you're already at work. And then we see in the Bible all of these occasions where God is right with someone and they don't know he's with them.
Yeah, talk about that. That was powerful.
Yeah, so there's several in Scripture, just a couple. Jacob, most famously in Genesis 28. He had just ripped off his brother. He had lied to his dad. You can read the story on your own. It's a great story. But as he leaves, he forgets that God is with him, and he actually wakes up from this powerful dream, and he says, surely the Lord was in this place, and I was not aware of it. That's the prayer of a reactive person. And just noticing when you've stopped noticing God. A second one that I really love is Luke 24, on the road to Emmaus. Cleopas and his companion are walking on the road to Emmaus. It's resurrection morning, Easter Sunday. They don't know it's Easter Sunday. They think Jesus is dead. And Luke says that Jesus comes right alongside Cleopas and his companion, and they don't recognize it's Jesus. You can be right in God's presence, but if you're in a reactive state, you don't notice. I think it's one of the reasons that one of the most frequent commands in Scripture is remember the Lord, because we forget as humans. And so Christmas to me, it's the time to remember the Lord, because John reminds us, we love Matthew and Luke at Christmas because of the wise men and the shepherds, but John has a great Christmas story where John gives God a nickname, Emmanuel, God with us. If I were to word Christmas, I would say God is already in the room. So let's say that you're anxious about getting the perfect gift for somebody. Let's say that you have siblings or children that aren't well with each other. And if they're not well with each other, then you're not well. One thing you can simply remember is just because someone's generating anxiety doesn't mean you have to catch it. They can generate it, you don't have to catch it. But also, their well-being doesn't have to be linked to your well-being. Jesus of Nazareth is the model of this. People, you start reading the gospel, you realize they put their anxiety on him so much. And the one tool he did was define himself. So that's a simple thing anybody can do at Christmas, is you can define yourself. Let's say you've got people that don't get along. Let's say that Cousin Greg rants about politics. Don't spend as much attention trying to worry about him or convincing him. Just spend time defining who you are, which might look like, I'm so glad everybody's here for Christmas. You all mean the world to me, and I'm looking forward to really enjoying each other. That's defining yourself, rather than, please don't, that kind of anxious need for others to be okay.
Because it's so contagious.
It's so contagious.
Especially if you care.
And if you are a connected human, that is also contagious. Yeah. That's who everyone wants to be around. So yeah, Christmas, God with us, the way I would say it is, God is already in the room. So just one last thing, Andy. As you wake up on Christmas morning, whenever your tradition is, Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, just a little time to say, okay, Lord, you're already here. When those people walk through the door, when that person wraps, you're already in the room. And it's crazy how you, even though it might still be a chaotic Christmas, how you'll be more relaxed.
And then in that gap, when you start to feel, because you're going to feel the reactivity, you can't avoid that, to recognize God is in control.
Yeah.
God has all the answers.
Yeah.
God has already approved me to just find that space to separate so it's not contagious, because that kind of anxiety doesn't have to be contagious.
That's exactly right. What is mine to carry? What is theirs to carry? What is God's to carry? And most time humans cross into theirs and God's.
Yep.
And then we're carrying more than God's asked us to carry, and we get reactive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Any parting shots before I let you pray for us? Any last thing?
No,
wrap up?
I think, Andy, you and Sandra and North Point's ministry is unbelievable. So it's a great honor.
I wasn't asking for that.
It's a great honor to be here. I love this church and this congregation, and the impact that you're making here in Atlanta and around the world is incredible.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Would you pray for us?